Devlog number 25. I've just had an exhausting long day trying to get one specific thing done in this game. I did it, but I'm not sure it was worth it. So, my plans took a little bit of a turn. I thought I knew what I wanted to work on, but it didn't quite happen that way. The most visible thing I did, which in terms of game code took like 5 minutes, was that I decided to add a drop shadow to everything that pops up. And it's extremely nice and makes everything pop out much better. So yeah, all these little shadows here are a fantastic addition that I should have done long ago. Everything looks much, much better with them. So I have sort of 3 weights of shadow. There's a medium one here on the normal pop-ups you interact with like this. There's a light one on stuff that just pops up on screen but is non-interactive like that, or like that. And there's a very heavy one for modal dialogues. The difference is subtle, but it is there. This is darker than those other shadows. Just in case you care. Anyway, so let's see what else happened. I did, in fact, manage to do the thing that I was trying to do with... this feels like a million years ago, but I did replace the champion state battle view with a new implementation that looks more like this thing. So yeah, I got a much more capable display here that's closer to what I want. So it shows the arrow, which demonstrates the direction of action. So Warrior is acting upon Imp right now. Still got the resource bars there. Current action. I'll probably do something a little different with this, but that's what it is right now. So the shine effect was adapted for this new frame. I think it does go slightly outside. It treats this as a square rectangle rather than rounded. So if you look very closely, you can probably see that goes slightly into the space it shouldn't. I'll do something about that eventually. I'm not sure what though. Yeah, so those effects still play up here. I don't have any new effects playing down here. I still do want the focus to be down there, but yeah, so this just sort of automatically determines who is the actor and who is the target for each turn step, and shows the thing as appropriate. Usually. Okay, yeah, that's true. You are acting on no one because your target cannot, your action cannot reach a target. Had no valid targets for ability attack. So let's actually change that a little bit. I'll show you what whoa. Oh, okay, I was testing UI limit stuff here. Okay, that's right. This was from that. Let's start over. Here, Warrior. Here's a mage. Warrior gets the usual. So yeah, nothing here has changed visibly. You get armor because this is encounter 3. Your actions, as always, are what they always are. Attack, potion, attack, and then you'll die before the next thing goes off. You get fire, and you're going to use it on everybody. So if I burn all those imps... That screen needs so much work. Oof. So let's see what this looks like. So warrior attacks, that's normal. So mage is acting upon all 3 of these at once. I need to do... Boy, this is extremely not visible, the way I'm framing the targets there. Yep, okay, just one of many, many things that needs work. I can only focus my attention in one part of the game at once. Alright, so that animation, here comes a star, and then Imp 1 gets burned. Foosh. Imp 2 gets burned. Oh, right, I have this thing I need to fix. So I don't see that gauge go down because it just changed from one champion to the other, and it doesn't preserve the previous gauge value. So what you should see is Imp 3 would pop up here. This would scroll from here to here as this goes down from 8 to 6. I think you can also see the number decreasing. Like you'd see 876. I'm not 100% sure on that one. It might just animate the bar. And actually, I'm not sure which is better. Maybe it's best to show what the number really is and not what it's transitioning to. Anyway, yeah, okay, so a little bit more work to do on that, but it does show the correct thing, so it knows which target to show for that. And, you know, if I go back in time, it'll show the right one. Anyway, alright, so Imp 1 is acting on Warrior here. Let's see, I don't have a way to pop anything like this up for a particular champion on the battlefield. Oh, right, so this is interactive now, where it wasn't before. But if I want to see, like, okay, so I'm seeing Imp 1 here, I'm seeing Warrior. I want to see what Imp 2's current health is. The way currently to do that is to pop this open and go to resources and see health 6 out of 8. Obviously I need something better, but that's how it is right now. Not sure what that something better will be, but it'll be something. Okay, yeah, so this is still, 3/4 baked. It's a little more than half baked, but it's not all the way there yet. It's getting there. Right, so warrior. Now, I thought of having this turn around and say warrior's acting on himself. I think it's also okay if it points out. I don't know, it was complicated to have it point at him when he's potioning himself. But maybe I should do it. Yeah, that's probably... Although, then it looks weird. It looks like nothing is acting on the warrior. I guess I could have like a little arrow icon that comes out here and turns around, but that'd have to be in a different style because this is just a chevron. You can't have that go out and turn around. Yeah, I don't know what to do about that. Something. Okay, anyway, so that's what that portion of the battle screen looks like now. No, this must have been interactive before, because I showed this turn gauge, which still is in exactly the same status as it was before. Okay, anyway, so I win that battle, I get a wizard hat, cool, and I return to map. Okay, so, I did that, and then kind of shifted my focus a little bit. There's a couple more buttons down there. Possibly a real exciting looking one. The exciting looking one does nothing right now. Nothing here yet. Okay, it does something, but it doesn't do much. So let's go to the UI limit stress test ×4. I expanded this a little bit and actually handled some of the cases in it. So max size battlefield, 20 item rewards, imp ... So this has a longer name than we'll show here. And I guess to see that name, currently the only way is here. Max size battlefield, 20 item rewards, imp with 4 large resource values, a very long encounter name. I guess if it's wider than would fit here, then you're just not going to see it. Like I can impose a maximum in the scenario editor, which by the way is semi in progress now. Right, and this is showing that it doesn't matter how many characters it is, it matters how wide it is. Right, okay, so imp with 4 small resource values. Right, yeah, so that's talking about this imp with the 8, 500, 1000, 1000. Then for small resource values is the 1111. Uh-huh. Boy, I do not like the way this looks. This is decent. The battle view with the gauges is real nice, but this little pop-up is not anything anyone really ever would want to look at. I could definitely just like redo this pop-up to be much nicer. Like just kind of this list format here, what do I call this? Data window view is the generic class that I use for displaying, lists of stuff. Comes with a lot of automatic behavior for all of the alternating color rows and just all that stuff. But yeah, I guess the expectation is that this is kind of the default. It'll probably be shown for some stuff, but a lot of things like this that need a better representation will get a better representation at some point. They just don't necessarily have them yet. Anyway, yeah, so that one's not interesting. This one's a little interesting because I did handle the text spilling out of that. Haven't handled it over, well, it doesn't need to be on this screen. Again, I can impose a limit on display name length there. Haven't handled this one yet. I probably will be able to. Just fine. But anyway, so infinitely growing status effects. Right, because I wanted a test bed for... I don't want you to attack. I want you to wait. I want you to wait. I wanted to test bed here for the display that I have in this new champion state battle view. Ooh, that icon doesn't fit there. Well, that icon's not supposed to be there. Doesn't matter. It's fine. So you have an ability called Apply Statuses. Abilities. Apply Statuses. Apply Status 1 for 0 turns. 0 turns? Permanent. Ooh, okay. That should say forever if it's permanent. Alright, so I didn't really have human-readable handling for that. Got it. No direct effects. Right, that's a custom status effect. So is this. using some unused icons here that I think are cool. I'll use them for something someday. Anyway, so every turn, you're just going to apply statuses to... Ooh, tooltip, you are incorrect. That is not imp, that's everyone on the battlefield. Check it out, found a tooltip bug. And also, yeah, okay, so now it's... yeah, no, there's just the one bug there. It shows the champion name instead of the everyone. Anyway, yeah, so imp receives status 1 status, warrior receives status 1 status, imp receives status 2, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so this is just testing out the handling of that particular UI limit. So this stresses my UI by applying more than will fit here. So the next one turns that last one into a ... And this is just a summary here, just shows you icons. Maybe I could have it so you could roll over those and see a little bit more about them. But if you want to inspect your status effects, you would go here to this data window view, which is, it's all right, I guess. But again, maybe could be enhanced a bit. I might also coalesce multiple instances of the same status into a single icon with like a count. But then again, they each actually keep an individual, they can have different power, they can have different durations. I guess I could coalesce identical ones that have the same parameters in those. Yeah, that's reasonable. Okay. But I haven't done that yet. It's on my to-do list. Anyway, yeah, so that's, so I've handled some more UI limits. We're a little bit better in that department. I think there's one more here. Yeah, so I realized that this row of enemies that I show along the bottom, so I just stack them up and show as many as are in the battlefield. The maximum number of enemies on the maximum size battlefield was a little larger than would fit in there. So right, you've got 25 imps here. Let's go in here and get massacred, because I think they will attack. Attack! Alright, they didn't have to do much. Warrior was defeated. Although actually, these in the not front row won't be able to attack. So I'd have to chew my way through all those, then this row would disappear and I'd gain access to those with melee attacks. Anyway, this is not a real encounter. It's just there to show this. I think I have... No, that's right. So it chooses an... well, here, so normally this would look like say if I go to the showcase scenario, like normally it'd look like that. They're just spaced out by icon width. So, you know, they're this far apart. What it does, it tries to be smart about it. Best looking thing I could figure out to do was to choose an integer spacing that is small enough that it won't spill out beyond this bound. So, you know, there's a little bit of space here, just because the integer I had to choose was a bit smaller than it theoretically could be. But it didn't look nice to have like this much space between that and then one more pixel between here and here, just so I could, like, it feels much better to have even spacing between these than it does to hit this right edge exactly if I have to squish them down. So anyway, I thought I had something in here that had like maximum enemy count minus a few so I could see them spaced out, you know, one more pixel. I guess I didn't leave it there. All right, yeah, so this is a whole bunch of I's, so a large character count that needs to ... Whole bunch of W's, and small character count that needs to ... So just stress testing my thing to make sure that it is width, not character count, that determines when it truncates. And yeah, we already saw what those names actually are. There's nothing interesting actually in those encounters. Anyway, yeah, so I'm handling my UI limits. This should allow a little more padding there. I don't like how close those are. Okay, so yeah, I can turn down my threshold just a little bit. That's no problem. Anyway, so what's taken the bulk of my time, though, was not any of that. I don't need that selected, but I feel more comfortable with that selected for some reason. Was not the scenario editor, because there's nothing here yet, but I'm ramping up for a scenario editor. I realized if I want the showcase scenario to be worked on, it would be real nice to have an in-game scenario editor, which I know I want anyway, so why not do it now? I can at least get started and have something rough that'll let me, inside the game, actually make the changes here that instead I would have been going out to... Oh boy, I have so many things open. Things that shouldn't be open. You go away, you go away. Like going out to here, opening up a text editor, and messing with all this stuff, which is fine, but I would rather have a real editor. And again, yeah, just like I'll be more productive in that. I'll be able to show better what I'm doing when I'm working on this interactively. And yeah, so I'm working my way toward a scenario editor. However, a step before that is scenario management, because I actually had none before. Because I just had the built-in scenarios that are just there as part of the game, and they're immutable unless you recompile or like edit the text files in the game resources. So anyway, I got this menu here on the scenario screen where I can create a new scenario. Hello, I'm a scenario. All right, I made a new scenario. You can't edit it right now. This is unimplemented. I think if I click this, yeah, it just prints a little message here. Oops. Okay, I guess I'll leave this in window mode for now. Hello, I'm a scenario. So I can rename it. Got an exclamation point now. Talk about those in a second. I can delete it because there's... Oh, look at that. That's fun. I thought I fixed that, but apparently I didn't. Okay, so got a little thing to fix here. Here, you can just... Oh, I guess I hit the cancel button. Oh, no, I didn't. Fascinating. Pressing my gamepad OK button when pointing at this does not have the effect of pressing this OK button. It considers that cancel. Okay, I can fix that too. Minor things. Yeah, all of this is very unpolished because I was working my butt off on it just now, and it's a major pain. So if I get info, untitled scenario is the human readable name. I guess I just automatically assign author name as the author name when I create new there. And the identifier, which actually shows up nowhere else except, well, in this print message. And on disk, that'll match the file name more or less. This is a place where I can inspect that. Like, this is not something a player would ever need to really see. You'd see the human readable name, but if you need to diagnose some issue, know how underneath your scenario is identified, for example, you can do it there. Copy does nothing right now, but print a message. Whoa, okay. Full screen's more comfortable. So, right, that's inspecting a scenario. So I have also these buttons, right, I tried create new, it works fine. It should probably prompt for a bit more than... At some point, somewhere in here, maybe the preferences screen, maybe I'll just prompt the first time it's needed and let you change it in preferences later. I need to have player profile management in addition to scenario management. So assign your name, different save progress if you want... For some reason, two people use the same computer and play the same game on it. It could still happen. This was a lot more common back in like the 90s, but it could still happen here, and I'd like to support it. So yeah, the thing I was crunching on today was import and export. So if I were to click on, let's choose good old reliable test scenario, I'm going to export this. This is kind of super jank right now. Ooh, yeah, this is super jank right now because my cursor is hidden in this window? Why? My cursor's not hidden when the dialogue's not open. And now it's not. What happened? That's one I don't understand. But my cursor just decided when it's in this window, it's hidden. Anyway, so this opens a system file dialog, and I can export testscenario.json to the desktop. Windows takes a moment to realize there's a new file here, but it does it pretty much immediately. And check it out, it's testscenario.json, which is not identical to this file because there's because this one's manually formatted, this one's automatically reformatted, so it makes different line break decisions for stuff like this. And, you know, it doesn't put like the 1.0 for a one number. But functionally, this is the same data in a very slightly different representation. So if I wanted to, I could go and here, let's do this. Whoa. Sure. I'll change the author name just so you can tell these apart. So I modified the one on my desktop. Nope, I modified the one in my game files. That's fine. there. That's the author name. So right, if I inspect this, author Alex Diener, I'm going to go to import, so that opens a file open dialog, and my cursor disappeared again. What the heck is going on? I know that iBeam doesn't show up too well on OBS, but like, yeah, invisible cursor when a dialog first opens. That's very strange. Anyway, it was not very obvious what happened there, but I did import this. I got a second test scenario here. It did read the file off of disk and reparse it, and I do have the oops in there, showing that this is indeed something different. So yeah, I can go and play this right now if I want to. It showed up in there. This does not handle UI limits. So like if I make another scenario now, it will just spill out of there. Let's delete that one. Oh, but before I do, let me show something. So this turned into Untitled Scenario 1 because it automatically uniques the scenario ID because I already have an untitled scenario. This will have done the same thing on import, I believe. Test Scenario 1, yes. So it just appends a number, an increasing number until it finds a unique one. I have more things to think about with that identifier. It's kind of complicated, right? Still got that bug to fix. But anyway, yeah, so this second test scenario now works just like the first one. Doesn't have any player progress saved, of course. But yeah, so I was crunching on... Where is this? Scenario data. So this file, things reorganized just a little bit, but this file now has all of my scenario IO code in it. This is the largest number of lines of anything in my project, pushing 4,000 here. I wrote, let's see, where do I start? Somewhere in here is the beginning of a function. There's right player inventory, sure. This would be scenario data serialize. Okay, so we got right player inventory, right encounter configuration, right prerequisites. So anyway, these are support functions used by that main one, which is what transforms an in-memory representation of a scenario to something using a serialization context. So I use a JSON serialization context. There's a bunch of abstraction. Anyway, so this is what writes that to disk, basically, or is the component in the process of writing this to disk that translates from Foresight Fight scenario in memory to something that my serializer can understand. I wrote... Let's put a mark. Okay, so let's see. This is reading stuff. From line 2406 all the way down here. Encounter configuration. Right, player inventory, serialize. So yeah, you know, right, the name, author name, all that stuff. I wrote all of this code down to 3125 today. It was a pain. I also wrote, alongside that, this was not all today, but a lot of it was scenario data test. So the unit tests for that serialization function, where do they start? Here, test serialization. Yeah, I got some cool mechanisms here that I don't really want to talk about, but yeah, so this just initializes an in-memory scenario. Scenarios are complicated. They have a lot of data. So initialize a set of test data and then set up a sort of a mock object which expects serializer calls in a certain order with a certain set of parameters. So basically just this specifies how I expect this in-memory representation, structs, pointers, etc., to be translated into function calls to my serializer. So I want a write string call with an identifier of test scenario to happen here because I assigned way up here scenario. Okay, so it actually just happens in here. Create empty scenario assigns the identifier. But anyway, yeah, so that was a super pain to write and debug. doesn't 100% cover all of the test cases, but it's pretty good. I have decent coverage, and I have to-dos for all the little bits of coverage that I'm missing in this new code that I wrote. So yeah, anyway, so that allows me to actually write scenario data out to disk and import it again. So that is a step, a very important step in scenario editing. So I can make new ones now, I can save them to disk, I can import them from disk. Right now, so I've done a bunch of stuff with my scenario list. I've imported some things, I've made some new things, I've renamed some things. If I were to quit the game and restart it, I changed a thing so that I can invoke this right from my build directory. I don't have to cd into the debug directory. I actually can get the working directory to load the resource and stuff. Anyway, technical stuff, don't worry about it. So right now the scenario list has reverted to its default state. It's just on startup loading the built-in scenarios and nothing else right now, because I'm not saving the imported or newly created ones anywhere except in memory. So that is another step to do on this, but then I will be able to go to the scenario editor. Why do I have this button here when I have in the manage menu a separate edit item, which currently just prints a message, but it will go to an edit screen. I think this is the way I want to invoke the editor, because you wouldn't go to this button and then choose your scenario. You'd choose your scenario and then say to edit it, I think. I guess I could have this button just choose like the selected, that wouldn't make any sense. Or, I could put an edit button up here. Also, this screen kind of muddles a lot of stuff. So it's the entry point for the scenario editor. It's the opening point for this whole dialogue where you manage your scenario data. But all of this has to do with player progress. Like, this has nothing to do with scenario data on disk. This is just saved, like my saved game in this scenario for my current player profile, of which only one really exists right now. Well, it doesn't even exist as a concept. It's just by default, the one global player profile is the only one. Yeah, the screen does a lot of stuff now. And I am sensing this little UI element that contains these two buttons in the scenario name. This is basically one of the oldest things you see on screen. That's probably going to be next to go and be replaced with something nicer, as I did with these things and the battle screen. So yeah, something maybe in sort of that style. I can't make it larger though. Well, so I think I need pagination here. Probably pagination and or scrolling, because this only fits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then it's really snug against that. Got this wasted space up here, though. Why do I have that? Well, because it doesn't look nice to have it right cozy up against the top of the screen. But I got all this wasted space here and here, but I don't think I want to horizontally tile. Yeah, okay. So some thoughts to do about how to efficiently use space on this screen. Anyway, so I'm in scenario management land, and hopefully I'll be in scenario editor land soon. That should actually be pretty nice. I've been doing some other side stuff, only slightly related to this project, sharpening up the tools in my game framework, paying some technical debt that I had left. So yeah, a lot of stuff's getting better invisibly behind the scenes, and it's very good. Yeah, like not a lot of showy stuff today, but some very important things nonetheless. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I can say I'll work on the scenario editor and maybe have some rough thing to show next time, but I don't know what's going to happen. As the path to completing this game is anything but straight. So I'll be as surprised as you will be. Ooh, I see a subtle UI bug here. So there's a little focus ring drawing around that reset when I go to it. If I go up from here to select, I think it's trying to draw one here on a non-existent reset button. It doesn't draw on the select. If my cursor's to the right, the select button does get the focus ring. Look at that. All right, I sniffed out another bug. I always get so many when I do these. It's very useful. All right, yeah, so I'll see you next time for whatever happens in 3 weeks.